All right, you're welcome to another episode of the FootyWit podcast. And yes, it's a pleasure to be anchoring this episode. And of course, I've got the usual guys here, and someone will be giving us his expert analysis for the first time in a long while, actually. So I've got Ehis Anthony here, and I've got Chimamaka. Hi guys, how you doing?
Yeah, it's good to be here. It's good to be here. It's been a while, so it's good to see you guys' faces again. So let's do this.
Yeah, it's good to be on the podcast today, and just taking the back seat, and want to see how my analysis skill will work. So it's good to see Okwe, anchor the podcast today. So let's go.
All right, great. So, guys, we've got loads to talk about. So, it's going to be a juicy episode. But first of all, we'll start with the review of match day 20. Taking a look at some of the big fixtures which did go down. First of all, it was Southampton versus Arsenal. Arsenal, it was a very good victory for them away at St. Mary's, despite losing in the FA Cup before. And then the big game between West Brom and Manchester City. No one saw that coming. It was a landslide victory for Manchester City. After Pep Guardiola already praised Sam Allardyce for being a genius, only to humble the big man at the Hawthorns. And then Chelsea and Wolverhampton Wanderers shed the spoils in Thomas Tuchel's first game at Stamford Bridge. Manchester United shockingly lost to Sheffield United at home. And, well, a huge title contender game ended in a surprising manner for me. Spurs losing at home 1-3 to Liverpool. So, guys, your views on these big games. Chimamaka. Yeah. What are your views on these games that did go down on match day 20?
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll kickstart it with the Arsenal game actually, which was a surprise for me in the FA Cup before the Premier League match. So it was a good bounce back for Arsenal from the loss against Southampton in the FA Cup, and it's a good one for them. At least they've had this sudden improvement since the 26th of December, and it has actually worked so well for Arteta and his men. So I would also be looking at the West Brom game versus Manchester City. That game was something I sat down to analyze, and I realized well, somebody came doing his homework, the next man was just there to observe, and that's what happened in that game. The game was, I was not surprised with what I saw. I was not surprised. Everybody was up and doing. We saw Gundogan taking charge of the entire midfield, box to box. He was just doing running damage there, and it was an easy fit for Guardiola, which good one for him. Then for the Chelsea game, it's well, we are officially welcoming on the podcast Thomas Tuchel, as it's pronounced in German. I don't know if I'm sounding right, but it's pronounced Tuchel. Well, if I'm wrong, some our people should actually do the correction for me. Well, it's a welcome game for him. We understood what was happening in the game. Yes, it didn't pan out as we expected, though, coming from a 3-1 victory in the FA Cup. But notwithstanding, we saw what we had lacked with Frank Lampard in the squad. No disrespect to him, I love him so much as a Chelsea fan. He has achieved more than enough for in my own opinion, both as a manager for now and as a footballer. So no disrespect to him, but yeah, I was talking about the tactical impetus that he lacked, and I wouldn't judge Tuchel from his first game, but we saw that in the first game against Wolverhampton Wanderers. For the first time, we were able to do 440 passes in the first half alone. Now, we won't continue with 440 passes without having attempts on goals, but would allow this pass because it's the first game. So there are so many things to talk about. Also looking at the Spurs Liverpool game. Well, at the first 4 minutes, we saw a disallowed VAR goal. So I expected that it would be a goal first actually in the first half. Well, it didn't pan out that way until the 47th minute. That's the extra time of the first half, where the first goal came in. Then we saw goals coming in. In fact, in the space of 4 minutes from the 47th minute in the second half to the first 5 minutes in the 47 in the first half to the first 5 minutes in the second half, we saw 3 goals just coming, and it only told us so many things that some guys went back to the dressing room and did a change of analysis why the other man lost it. I wouldn't call names. Probably when we enter into it deeply, we will dissect what has to be dissected. So that's it.
Right, so Chimamaka, just before Ehis jumps in, the last game between Manchester United and Sheffield, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, United lost at home at Old Trafford and allowed Sheffield United to pick their second win of the season.
Yeah, sorry I missed on that. Well, that's knowing the EPL, it's actually no surprise. But on the other hand, you realize that United are coming from a very good run of victories. These are guys who have been grinding in results, but they didn't expect what they saw in that game. These are guys who defended. The Sheffield team was compact from the beginning of the first half up to the time they decided to score a goal. And we saw, yes, these guys are hungry. They are not happy where they are. It only shows that the competition in the EPL, there's nobody who is a pushover. Forget they were sitting at the bottom of the table. There's nobody who is a pushover. We saw United who have come from how many games without losing, without dropping points, and it came up. Well, it's the EPL. So many things happen in the EPL.
Exactly, so many things happen in the EPL. All right, so brilliant analysis, guys. But then let's talk about a team in London, West London, talking about Chelsea. But then just before we get to their new manager, who is now the second new manager in the 2020-21 season, let's talk about the sacking of Frank Lampard. Really, if you think about it, personally, I felt like Frank Lampard's job was going to be secure up until next season, but that was not the case, obviously. What are your thoughts on this? Was the sacking of Frank Lampard, was it warranted, or should he have been given more time at Chelsea? Chimamaka.
Yeah, I'll really jump on that actually. As a Chelsea fan and a football lover, if you look at what we had with Lampard in 18 months, well, I wouldn't entirely strike every of his efforts as bad. But you realize that he actually played with some of his so-called trusted players. But from his own end, he lacked some things which I felt if given time, he would improve on that. I didn't expect him to be let go after 18 months. I'll be very frank with you. I expected them to work on a project which I believed was going to be a 3 years project, and let's see how it comes out. But knowing the owner of the football club, he's hungry for silverware. So, yeah. And again, the difference between he and some other club owners is he understands football. And I said it in our previous podcast. That's tactical know-how on the way to approach a team. He just comes out, he's all out with this. Yes, he had a winning formula of playing the 4-3-3, and he believed the moment he got that, he was winning. That was the only thing. He didn't know how to tweak the team, how to bring about a different dynamics in that team, which was what Lampard as a manager lacked. So bringing in Thomas Tuchel now, well, I can't really say, but looking at the whole thing, if I'm going to answer your question and be very direct with answering it, I'll answer it in 2 ways. As a Chelsea fan, I would have believed, I would have expected Frank Lampard to have more time to perform. And secondly, as an analyst and as a Chelsea fan, nah. I think the change was imminent, because it was more like we keep running on the same tape over and over and over without a change. So, well, for the club, it's a good decision. For the club, it's a good decision. For footballing reasons, it's a good decision. Any other thing, no sentiments attached, no club legend attached, it's a good decision actually, from my own end.
All right. And what I want to hear from you, what do you make of Thomas Tuchel, or Thomas Tuchel, as Chimamaka would say? If you take a look at his pedigree, managed a couple of good teams in Germany. The standout team, which he did manage in Germany, was Borussia Dortmund. He was the man that took over from Jurgen Klopp. he does have experience managing someone like Christian Pulisic, you know, and then going over to Paris Saint-Germain, he won 2 domestic trebles back to back, got them all the way to the 2019 Champions League and final, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So yeah, they did lose out. But then, what do you make of him? Is he the right person to take Chelsea going forward? And then, judging by that game, too early to judge. But did you see anything from that initial team that might just make you feel like, okay, maybe this is the right man for the job, maybe this is the right man to lead Chelsea going forward? I think definitely, look, if he would definitely give Thomas Tuchel the same range of time he did give to Frank Lampard. He definitely has to do that for him. He needs to be fair. I think that's probably like an average time he can give to all these managers. However, I'm sure everyone is looking forward to seeing how philosophy can work. You know, taking a look at the team, and then Chimamaka is going to give a response to this, talking about certain players who were not starting the game. Now you could see that you have someone like Tony Rudiger coming back into the team. That's an experienced player. You have Ashley coming back into the team.
I was trying to remember that because
exactly.
Lampard, sorry to cut in, Lampard hardly used Rudiger. He prefers the combination of Silva and the other guy, Zuma.
Yeah, either Zuma or Christensen. So you could see that Tuchel wanted Chelsea to play the same way PSG used to play under him. What am I talking about? So you have probably either Thiago Silva or maybe Marquinhos and Presnel Kimpembe, and then you have someone like Kozawa or Bernat who's high up the pitch. While you have someone like you have Timo Kehrer, you have Thiago Silva and Presnel Kimpembe right there. So I feel later on in the future, I think Fikayo Tomori has a future at Chelsea under Thomas Tuchel, because Fikayo Tomori is that type of centre back that knows what to do with the ball going forward. Or rather, Tuchel might just go and look for a left-footed centre back. And then you could see going forward. I was surprised about the fact that he didn't start Mason Mount. I felt Mason Mount is that type of player that can actually thrive under his system, because I didn't see much from Kai Havertz in terms of creativity. I didn't see much from Hakim Ziyech as well in terms of creativity. So you then begin to wonder, why was Mason Mount on the bench? However, I believe it is down to that first training session he did have. All right, but then coming from the Chelsea fan Chimamaka, I'd like to know, why do you think certain players were left on the bench? Talking about, Reece James.
Sorry, before Chimamaka comes in there, I forgot to add this. To be fair on Tuchel, he had only had one training session with the team, so you shouldn't look as if the hammer is on him. But as a football fan, I love this thing that has to do with the process, building a team. Even when Mourinho took over, yes, we know his first season he won the trophy, he won the EPL. But even with that team, you would know that there had been a template before Mourinho took over, because when he took over, he just added a few players to that team, to the core of that team, that they were able to go on that fantastic run to win the league. So Thomas Tuchel, like you mentioned, he would have to bring in the type of players that he wants to execute his philosophy. But I hope time will tell. I hope Abramovich will give him that time.
Yeah, talking about Roman Abramovich, it's very hard for you to predict him. But then, the sacking of Frank Lampard just goes to show you that he's still the same person that he is.
Yeah, true.
But then I was so curious about... Yeah, I was quite curious about the fact that, you need this team to get back to doing well. You need this team to get back to being one of the big dogs in England. And then you go for an inexperienced manager, someone who has barely had close to a year under his belt as a manager. The job. And then keep in mind that Frank Lampard did not get Derby County to actually get into the Premier League. They lost at the preliminary stages of the playoffs.
Yep.
So I felt for Lampard also, I felt probably for him it was a step too soon. He should probably spend more time at Derby County and actually try and get them into the Premier League. But that was not the case. But then let's focus on Thomas Tuchel now.
The question I would have to ask is, did Lampard? I'm sure Lampard is a legend. He was there as a player. He knew the kind of style the owner uses hire and fire. If you don't deliver, we're just going to sack you. So I'm sure he was aware of what he was putting his hand into. He was aware of where he was dipping his hand into. He was aware of where he was going to. He knows he had to perform, and if he doesn't perform, he will get the boots, which he already gotten. So moving on to Thomas Tuchel.
Funny enough, in previous podcasts, I have actually said that, talking about his first press conference, he was asked that, why did you make this decision now? And then he did give the response that, I've signed a 3-year contract. Irrespective of what happens on the pitch, I will see out the tenure of this contract. Yeah. But obviously, according to reports, the board, not just Roman Abramovich, and frustrated with Frank Lampard and Chelsea and the team itself over the last few weeks. So definitely they were not happy with what had been happening, them dropping vital points. So obviously the win at the FA Cup was not good enough. However, now going forward, focusing on Thomas Tuchel, he's just got a couple of days left in the transfer window. I don't expect Chelsea to sign any player. I don't expect them to bring in any player. So he needs to make this team gel. A very surprising omission had to be Timo Werner. Timo Werner was on the bench.
Yeah,
it was Olivier Giroud who did start. And then you had Tammy Abraham coming on, and later on talking about the substitutions, you would see Tammy Abraham coming on, Mason Mount coming on late in the game. And then we saw how versatile Callum Hudson-Odoi was, starting from the right-hand side of the attack, going all the way to left wing back, because Ben Chilwell did come off, and then we saw the obvious tactical prowess of Thomas Tuchel compared to Frank Lampard. And in my own opinion, the way Chelsea was set up was good enough to actually contain the explosiveness of Wolverhampton Wanderers, because they've got the likes of Pedro Neto, Adama Traore, who love to take advantage of defenders one-on-one. They love to take you on for a run and then place a cross for someone in the middle. But then I did feel that Willian Jose should have been better earlier for Wolverhampton Wanderers. Probably they would have made Chelsea pay for it. But then, Chimamaka, I need to know, what are your thoughts on those couple of players that were dropped before we move on to the next thing?
I would answer that. Well, when he came in, he made it known to every player that he's giving everybody a clean slate, which means you have
Arteta's
time,
words.
you have room.
Arteta's words.
You have room to perform and stick a number for yourself in the starting 11. Now, what he did was start with the experienced players up front, as in for his first game. That is to share after the game. What he said was he did that in order to share an understanding of what he was trying to deliver. So if you noticed in the game, the only player who is less than 21 who started that match was Hudson-Odoi. So every other person who started that game were senior players in Chelsea Football Club. At least we saw Jorginho, who was not even getting game time. If we had a fit Kante, then we know that Jorginho will be sitting on the bench. So now, if you look at what happened, now if I was Thomas Tuchel, I would have a very good understanding of even the young players. We saw what happened in that game. He started Kai Havertz here, which was a great one. That is just in order for him to be able to deliver his ideas on the pitch. But in the moment he introduced these young boys, we saw Mason Mount's impact after he came on. We saw Christian Pulisic's impact after he came on. It only tells you that working with what he said, that is giving everybody a clean slate, might eventually drop some senior players back to the bench. We saw what happened. It was good to see Rudiger play again. We've not seen Zuma in a while. Master is starting 11 at least. He hasn't started 3 Premier League matches. But it's just the first match. It's just the first game. Subsequently, we'll see the kind of changes and implementation is going to deliver to the team. But for now, the first match we played wasn't somewhat exceptional in my opinion.
Yeah, it was kind of drabby though.
I believe he wouldn't be judged on his first game in less than 24 hours of training. So subsequently we'll see. But I believe there'll be better days ahead.
All right, so all the best to Thomas Tuchel.
His
reign
Tuchel.
At Chelsea Football Club. So let's see what he has to do at the end of the season. Probably we will come back and judge him within the short period of time, because look, I think the next 6 months will be extremely pivotal, or rather, next 5 months actually will be extremely pivotal. So guys, we're running into injury time. Let's take a quick look at what the table is looking like currently. Manchester City is leading, with 41 points. And then you've got Aston Villa, who currently has 29 points in 10th position. Now, the difference between 1st and 10th currently is just about 12 points. So, 1st to 10th is extremely juicy. This is why I love the English Premier League. Number one, the unpredictability and how tight it's looking currently. Arsenal have 30 points, 11 points away from Manchester City, 11 on points with Chelsea Football Club. And then let's take a look at the top 4 currently. Manchester City, Manchester United, Leicester City, Liverpool. Liverpool trail Manchester City by 6 points currently, So just like I said, we're into injury time. What are your thoughts on the top 4 currently and what you expect to see at the end of the season? Top 4 currently: Manchester City, Manchester United, Leicester City, and Liverpool. Chimamaka, do you think these top 4 will remain the same come the end of the season?
I'll answer you straight out. No, it will remain that way, because there are some things you expect to see there that are not there yet. But yeah, the good thing about what we are seeing there by this time, or this is the second half of the season, the good thing we are seeing in that table is a table change that has not occurred in over 15 years. We are seeing new guys who are actually battling for all this. Now, we talked about we are so familiar with the Manchester City, the Manchester United. We are seeing Leicester City there. We are seeing Liverpool there. But after Liverpool, who do you have following? You see that the competition is loud. If anybody sleeps, if there is any slip up, then it is at your own detriment. Now, we are seeing Arsenal, who came from all the way down, climbing on
15th position.
Exactly. Within the middle of an eye, before you know anything, if there is any slip up, there is somebody there to replace you. So as it is, the top 4 is not guaranteed to anybody. And luckily for us this season, if you can remember, we all know that we've had 9 people who have stopped the EPL log this season. So it only tells you what it means and what the EPL has to offer us. So it's a no-no for anybody there. Those who are sitting at the top is not guaranteed for them. So I won't give it to anybody yet.
All right, guys. Now, just before we do the preview of Magic 21, I must say that one thing for sure is that I don't expect to see anything going on a 10-game winning streak, because this has to be the most competitive season of the English Premier League so far. Look, for the last 5 years, we've been building up to a season like this.
Yeah.
Since Leicester City, actually, we've been building up to a season like this. I take a look at the top half of the table, and I see West Ham United with 35 points. 2 points
position.
above. And West Ham has been consistent. Finally, they've got their starting 11.
Yep.
David Moyes finally has starting 11. You have that double pivot of Declan Rice and Thomas Tuchel, a brilliant Czech footballer, and then that amazing front 3 of Manuel Lanzini. The new signing, because his deal just got a permanent, signed a 5-year deal up until 2026, talking about Said Benrahma, who they did get from Brentford. Initially, it was a loan deal. Now he has been signed on a permanent deal. And obviously, the now rejuvenated Pablo Fornals. These 3 maestros behind the ruthless Mikel Antonio. So definitely West Ham has been in good form so far. They will be on a good winning streak. However, can they be consistent? We don't know. Manchester City currently, it's their league to lose. Now let's take a look at some of the big games that will be going down during match day 21. The first game on Saturday, Manchester City versus Sheffield United. Chelsea and Burnley will do battle on Sunday. West Ham will host the reigning champions Liverpool on Sunday. Brighton, Hove and Albion will host the injured Tottenham Hotspur on Sunday. And then the biggest game of the weekend will be going down tomorrow, Saturday evening. The Arsenal will host Manchester United. Guys, what are your thoughts on these big games? Chimamaka?
Sorry about that. I would actually start with the Arsenal-Manchester United game. It's always been a lovely match to watch. Sometimes you least expect things and they happen. But well, I wouldn't give it to anybody just yet, because both teams are actually on fire as it stands. Now we know we have a rejuvenated Arsenal team that are doing damage to anybody who comes their way, and we have a United who, it's not like they're playing excellent football, but their hunger is actually different from what we saw at the beginning of the season. So I wouldn't give that game just to anybody. I won't give that game to anybody just yet, because I expect us to see beautiful football in that game. I expect us to have goals actually in that game. So, I will leave that game to one side, because I know it's going to be a fun game to watch. Then talking about the first game of Saturday, which is was it Manchester City?
Everton.
Yeah, Sheffield United.
Okay.
Sheffield United.
Okay.
Sheffield United. Yeah, we saw what Sheffield United did to Manchester United. So we hope, we who are the hopers, hope that Sheffield has a winning streak. I didn't say anything. I only said that I hope that Sheffield will have a winning streak and Man City will have a winning streak. It's now left to both of them to enjoy themselves. I don't know how they want to do, but yeah, it's going to be a fun game to watch. Seeing that Sheffield United is a respecter of no man. There's no big man in front of them. For them to have done Manchester United that damage a few days ago. So as it is, that game is going to be. It's only going to take something different from each manager to bring about victory. If Sheffield United would come out as compact as they came out against United, then Man City will have a difficult time on the pitch. So, but we can't say what's going to happen. That game is going to be a wonderful game. Then the Chelsea-Burnley game. Well, it's another test for Thomas Tuchel. We don't know who's going to be panning out, who's going to be fielding on that game, but we know we have a Burnley team who came from defeating an informed Aston Villa team. And we remember that game, the game against Aston Villa. Aston Villa led twice in that game.
Yeah, true.
Then a hungry Burnley came and still defeated them. So it only tells you the hunger is different. It only tells you it is different. So I don't expect to be a ride in the park for Chelsea. They all have to wake up in that game. I'm not giving it to, yes, I would, as a Chelsea fan, I would expect us to do better than we did against Wolves and have hunger to score goals and take chances. We're right, but it's not going to be an easy one actually. I would say that outrightly. It's not going to be an easy one, but we hope to get 3 points from there as a Chelsea fan. Then looking at my guys at the blue part of Manchester. Red. I've done Manchester United. I've done Manchester City. I've done Chelsea and Tottenham Hotspur. Oh. DPL is funny. There's some things I don't even know what to say again. DPL is funny. There are upsets here. Let's carry on. Don't worry. I expect it to be a good one actually. There's nothing to say about it.
All right, great guys. Loads of fixtures to look forward to this coming weekend. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode of the podcast. Ehis, Chimamaka, it's always a pleasure having you guys on board.
Thank you, sir.
You guys.
Yep.
All right, great. So guys, please don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, and also you can listen to this episode on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcast as well. Do continue to stay safe. Peace.